Well, good afternoon. Today it is my absolute pleasure to present this Hometown Hero Award. You know, when Russia invaded Ukraine in February of 2022, I think most of the country was emotionally invested. I mean, we were outraged by what Russia was doing. It was heartbreaking to watch the pictures on TV, the mothers with their babies fleeing, leaving their husbands behind to fight. The one that really got me is the little girl in the bomb shelter that was singing Let It Go, which is like the favorite song of every little girl in the country, including my granddaughter. I think we were inspired by the bravery and heroism of President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people, and I think a lot of us felt like, man, I wish I could do something about this. My hometown hero, Christiana Gorchynsky Trapani, was particularly emotionally invested because both sets of her grandparents were Ukrainian immigrants. And she grew up with the Ukrainian culture and language. So Christiana owns Door County Candle Company, and a couple years earlier, she had made a candle for a Ukrainian Catholic church. So the day after the invasion, when she was talking to her family, she said, you know, what if I made candles in the colors of the Ukrainian flag and sold them, and I could donate the proceeds to Ukrainian humanitarian relief? So they began selling them locally. Here's my candle from my office, and you guys probably all want one of these for your office as well, so get in touch. Anyway, they immediately were very popular in our area, and our local media picked up on it pretty quickly. Then the Green Bay media picked up on it, the newspaper, the TV stations. Then it went to USA Today and those newspapers, NPR, and then the Chicago media market got it. And by then, they were getting hundreds of calls every day, and you couldn't even get through on their phone line. So Door County Coffee Company, which is right next door, brought Christiana a message one day, and it had a phone number, and it said, David Muir from ABC News would like you to give him a call. This is not a joke. So that night I happened to be watching, had the news on while I was making dinner in the kitchen, you know, and the story came on. And it was a very lengthy story, and as you're going to hear in a few minutes, Christiana is a very compelling spokesperson. So that night, their website crashed. When they came in the next morning, they had 2,000 voicemails and 8,000 emails. And then the next night, ABC did another story, a lengthy story on it, just on the response that had occurred, you know, from the first story. They had, you know, thousands of orders. I think at that point they were like 40,000 candles behind that they needed to make. And this is a company that before that was making about 15,000 candles a year. So, you know, they brought their family, the reason I brought the whole family up, because it was everybody pitched in. They had dozens of volunteers from Door County. When I went there right after that story had been on, there was a guy from California who had seen it on the news and hopped on a plane and flew to Wisconsin to help make candles, and he stayed for a couple of weeks. So, you know, it was really an amazing thing. Well, they have finally caught up with their orders. And last week, Christiana and her husband Nick actually were the guests on the Wall game show for their season premiere of that. So they were able to talk about, you know, their candle project, and they actually won $1.3 million on the show. So they have, you know, that helped them put the money in to reach the one milestone, and I'll have them hold up the check. This is their latest count.
Sorry.
That they've donated to Ukraine. So I think probably I'd better just shut up and let Christiana talk, but I'm very, very proud to have them as Door County neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, now I'm tearing up, so sorry about that. Let me just... hello. My name is Christiana, and I'm the owner of Door County Candle Company in beautiful Door County, Wisconsin. Joel Kitchens just said, when the war broke out, all of us were sitting together. And my family from Ukraine called, and they sent videos of bombs being dropped right outside their home. And they were screaming and crying, and in that moment, we were all sitting. My grandma's reliving war from World War II, and I just kept thinking, how can this be happening in 2022? And in that moment, I thought, well, one thing I know for sure is I cannot just sit here and cry and grieve. I need to do something with this. So we were talking, and I'm like, well, we have a Ukraine candle. I went to my husband. I'm like, what do you think? We donate all the profits from this? And he's like, yeah, I mean, I'm no accountant, but this shouldn't be hard, you know. I wanted to raise $5,000, and my mom behind me was like, that's an awesome goal. If you don't meet it, we'll match you to get there. So it meant a lot to me knowing that, well, you know, we'll get to that $5,000 goal one way or another. And so it quickly grew, and the day I posted a video about what we were doing, we had 200 orders and then 300 orders. And Nick was painting our shop because it was very slow, and I look at him and I'm like, you might want to come down from the ladder because we need to make candles like now. And so he came down, we poured candles, went home, we were like, we're caught up, this is great, we're good. The next day we come in and 1,000 orders. So quickly that became the trend, and we had over 100,000 candles to make and to send. And so just last week, we announced that we hit a goal of $1 million raised for Razum for Ukraine. Razum for Ukraine is an incredible and reputable nonprofit based in New York. A lot of people have asked me, well, how do I know that where you're donating, it's reputable and that it's going to the right place? Well, besides me vetting it, and my family who lives in New York volunteering for the organization, they're so transparent. Go to their website. They have impact reports, photos, stories, you name it. And they are boots on the ground helping people in Ukraine. And my family in Ukraine, who I talked to last week, even told me how much Razum is helping them during this time, whether it's helping families evacuate, bringing in generators, dropping medical equipment, using drones to bring supplies to places that have been bombed so bad that no one can get there. So the Ukraine Candle fundraiser wouldn't have been possible, and the money we made wouldn't have been possible without our volunteers from near and far. And on a daily basis, I am reminded of what an amazing community we live in. People from all across Wisconsin and the country have come to help. And it truly makes me so proud to live in Wisconsin. So since the Ukraine Candle fundraiser, Door County Candle has transformed into a philanthropic candle company. We've actually raised over $1 million for various nonprofits and causes, such as we raised over $14,000 for Hurricane Ian, over $8,000 for UNICEF for the earthquake in Turkey. Currently, we're running a fundraiser for Girls Inc., and we have so many more great ideas to raise money and to use our candles for change and to use our candles as a symbol of hope and light. So, as I said, our business is not just a candle shop. Our candles mean so much more than just a candle. And we will forever be a company with candles that create change. Thank you.